Lauren McCarthy here with Lauren Wants to Know, and we are starting a new video series interviewing and highlighting successful women. And we have one of them today here with us, Andrea. Please introduce yourself and who you work for and what your role is.
All right, so I'm really happy to be here. My name's Andrea Riley, and I'm the Chief Marketing and Public Relations Officer at Ally Financial.
Nice. How long have you been doing that?
Well, I've been at Ally for about 10 years.
Okay.
I spent about 20 years prior to that working for an advertising agency, actually running all the Chevrolet advertising for Campbell Ewald.
Well, there you go. And your education, your background?
My education is Michigan State.
Okay.
I was a soccer player up at Michigan State. I played 4
Nice.
years of varsity soccer, which was awesome. And I got a degree in advertising and communications up there. They've got a great com art school, and I always knew that's what I wanted to go into.
Really?
And, yep, ever since I was a little kid. So picked the path and went down it.
I love that. And so, did you have any role models growing up? Since you already knew you wanted to do marketing and advertising, who were your role models? How did they inspire you and influence you with your career choices?
I did. I had a lot of role models. I mean, my parents, and I think everybody says that, but
Yeah.
my parents truly were role models, right? My dad was a high achiever. He was a lawyer and then a judge, and a great family man. And I always respected the way that, even though he had this really big, powerful, important job, which he was great at, and everybody loved and respected my father, he was always involved in all aspects of our life. And I loved that. In fact, when I played soccer in high school, 4 years of soccer in high school, he never missed one game.
Oh my God.
And he got an award at the end of not missing a game.
Best dad ever.
Yeah, it was awesome. And then my mom was a great role model as well. She's a very smart, very strong woman. And while she was a stay-at-home mom with us, she worked previously, but she was just a very educated, very smart, very independent, didn't take no for an answer, and was fiercely protective of her kids and her family. And so that always was a huge inspiration to me. And then really my third role model was my aunt, my dad's sister.
Okay.
She was and still is, very successful businesswoman. She was in education. She's a superintendent of a school system, on all kinds of boards, very well known in the community. And I just always loved how she was so successful in a time when a lot of women didn't advance, at that pace. And I always found her to be such a huge inspiration to me.
Absolutely. Wow, those are some great people.
They were.
I mean, lucky
Still
you.
are.
Yeah, that's awesome. So day-to-day responsibilities at Ally. What do you do on a day-to-day basis?
Well, so Ally is a Fortune 500 company. We are a digital financial services company, and my job is to really shepherd the brand and the communications for Ally. So my day-to-day responsibilities, I have a team of about 100 people.
Wow.
And we are responsible for marketing really on two fronts: consumer marketing to drive all of our consumer businesses, so get people to make deposits at Ally Bank, open credit cards, open mortgage accounts, all those kinds of things. And then on the business side, really the interaction that we have with our dealers. So we're the largest auto finance company in the country, and we do business with over 17,000 dealers. And so really my responsibility there is to ensure that we're providing the right kind of marketing tools and services and value to our dealers to help make them successful. My team also has responsibility for research, so whether it's product research or consumer research across the enterprise, so really informing with voice of the customer, understanding what's happening in the marketplace, trends, technology, and those kinds of things. And then I have responsibility for all of our external PR. So how do we shepherd the brand reputation for the company? How do we react to any PR that's out or any press that's out about the company? How do we proactively create good inertia and press for the company? So it's pretty full scale.
Wow, yeah.
In terms of what we're doing every single day.
Yeah, absolutely. Gosh.
And it's an exciting time in marketing because of the way technology is changing marketing and the way technology is changing the way people interact with everything. So, the pace of the change in the industry is amazing. And just looking at how things like virtual reality and artificial intelligence and the way that Amazon is changing the world in which everybody consumes everything, and how as a marketer you keep up with that and keep your brand relevant and in front of people in meaningful ways. So it's a lot of fun.
It's a lot of change. So 10 years ago, completely different than how it is today.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
Your role is completely different.
Yeah, I mean, 10 years ago, I remember I had a typewriter on my desk.
I miss that.
I know, right? We were just talking about that the other day. Like, everybody smoked at work and had a typewriter on their desk.
Cocktail.
I mean, it's completely different now. The role has changed. Even in the last 5 years, the role has changed in substantive ways. I would say the biggest ways that it's changed is really with the emergence of digital and technology.
Absolutely.
So 80% of our budget today is spent in digital media,
really,
which is the complete inverse of what it would have been 5 years ago.
Yeah.
And it's really now about how do we use data to drive the highest quality prospects to our brand. How do we follow people around on their digital shopping journey? How do we help our dealers learn how to do that?
I think that would be a tough one.
Do
some of them not follow along? Is it hard for them?
A lot of dealers haven't moved into the digital space as quickly as they should. And then the other thing for us is, as a digital financial services company, there's no brick and mortar. You can't walk down the street and walk into an Ally branch.
No.
Everything's done on your phone, pretty much. And so how is mobile changing the experience as well? I mean, even the use of laptops anymore is declining, and more of advertising and marketing is moving to mobile. So how do you keep up with those mobile experiences? We looked at a stat last week that the average customer sees 700 different advertisements or messages a day.
Really?
And so how do you burst through that clutter? Imagine it's coming at people from everywhere. So it's changed a lot.
Oh my God. I would never have thought that. That's crazy.
I know, it's insane.
Do you see yourself as someone who influences women in your field or in other fields, and if so, how do you think you do that?
I've always felt a huge responsibility to as an influencer, and I absolutely feel that way for a couple reasons. One, if you look even at the Fortune 500 right now, there still aren't the amount of women in C-suite jobs that there really should be. Less than 5% of Fortune 500 companies have a female CEO. And yet they drive, diversity and inclusion really drives good business. And we know empirically that businesses that have more diverse C-suites drive 40% higher amount of revenue. So I have always felt an enormous amount of responsibility to show women, particularly young women, that it can be done, that you can break through that glass ceiling, so to speak, and you can have a family and you can have a career. There are things, there's gives and takes, right?
Of course.
And you're not going to be able to do everything all the time. And you just have to learn to be okay with that. And, the second part of that for me is I'm a single mom. I've been a single mom for a long time, over 15 years now. And I have 2 boys, and I've always wanted to be a role model for my boys as well, to show them like your mom can be successful and she can still be a mom and still be part of your life. And so I've always felt an enormous amount of responsibility to demonstrate to women that it can be done through my actions, not just my words. And then I'm very involved, particularly at Ally. We have a number of employee resource groups. I started our women's employee resource group, and it's really an opportunity for women in the company to get together and to mentor one another, to make connections, to have a sounding board and a way to exchange just what we're all going through as moms or wives and business, and how to cope with things. And so it's always been really important to me.
I think that's great. And I think the little piece about, being a mother and a wife, soon-to-be wife, and also a businesswoman, you can do it all in give and take. And I think that's huge and important to remember that, but it is possible. And raising your sons, and that's so exciting.
It is. And I'm about to get married, and I'm going to have a new stepdaughter. And for me, then that's another level of responsibility that I feel now, because I want her to see that, she's a very motivated young lady, and
Sure.
and she wants to kind of have it all, and I want to be a strong role model for her now, and show her, how you can manage it. It's not easy. I mean,
No.
but I don't think it's easy for men either, to be honest.
I don't
with you.
either.
There's no balance for anybody.
Of course not.
So I think it's just about, getting up every single day and doing
Yeah.
the best that you can, and kind of being true to who you are, and the rest takes care of itself.
Yeah. I love it. So on that note, do you have any advice? You kind of just gave the advice to women, but if you have any additional advice.
I do. I mean, my a few things that I'll say is, one, let yourself off the hook a little bit.
Okay.
As women, we carry around a tremendous amount of guilt,
Mm-hmm.
more so than our male counterparts, and
Wonder
that's
why.
just fact. I know, right? We're always saying I'm sorry, and we're
Yeah.
always guilty about, I couldn't be at my son's game, or I couldn't do this, or I missed this at work because I love to do something with my kids, and it's okay. You just, all you can do is what you can do, and for me, I've always prioritized based on importance. So if I knew something was really important to my kids, I'm going to leave work and be at that thing that was important to them,
Yeah.
and I'll catch up with work later. And vice versa. There were other things that, there were times, for instance, that they were going on a field trip, and I'm like, do you want me there? And
Yeah.
they're like, I don't care. So I wasn't going to kill myself to do it. So I'd
Okay.
say that's one. Secondly, and this is a motto that I always live my life by, which is don't drink your own Kool-Aid.
Okay.
Never think that your title or your job defines who you are. And regardless of how high you get up in a company, and how successful and how powerful you think you are in your mind, don't buy into it. Just stay true to who you are. Stay connected, stay grounded, stay rooted, because a career can be over like that.
Yeah.
Especially in these kinds of jobs. And if you let that define who you are, then when you lose that career, your whole world's going to kind of come crashing down.
Yeah.
So that's a really important one. Never get too precious. Kind of never drink
Okay.
your own Kool-Aid. And then I think third is, deeds not words. Just go out and do
it.
what you want to do every
Yeah.
single day. Do it the best that you can. Just don't talk about it. Just get up and do it.
Yeah.
And, like I said, everything else kind of takes care of itself.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
You're
It's
amazing.
my pleasure.
Oh, thank you so much for being here. Guys, if you have any questions or comments for Andrea, please leave them below.